From the moment she stepped into the grand hall of the Alvaron mansion, everyone thought she didn't belong there, but no one expected her voice would stop time itself. And certainly, no one expected the billionaire's son, Adrian Alvaran, the man who joked to the crowd, "Sing this Mozart piece and I'll marry you," to fall silent the moment the maid's daughter opened her mouth. But before that day ever happened, something much deeper had already begun. Amara had grown up in the servants' quarters at the back of the estate, raised by her mother Leona, who worked as a maid for the Alvaron family. Every morning she polished floors that reflected chandeliers worth more than their annual income, and every night she fell asleep to her mother's soft lullabies. Lullabies that were the only remnants of the music her mother once dreamed of pursuing. But dreams were expensive, rent was due, and music faded long before bills did. Amara never told anyone that she sang too. She practiced in secret, in the hallways when no one was around, in the storage rooms, where echoes felt like applause, and sometimes in the garden when the wind was loud enough to hide her voice. She believed that no one should hear her. She believed that girls like her didn't deserve stages. Meanwhile, Adrian Alvaran was the opposite of everything she was: loud, privileged, unbothered by consequence. The heir to a billion-dollar empire, raised among golden cutlery and magazine headlines. He was used to attention that wasn't earned and praise that wasn't deserved. He didn't ask for any of it, yet he never rejected it either. He pretended not to care about anything. Business meetings, arranged introductions, endless expectations. Music was the only thing that felt real to him. Especially classical music. It was the one place his family's influence didn't matter. Talent either existed or it didn't. And that is how the two of them were tied long before they realized it. Both clinging to music, but from opposite sides of the world. The story of how they collided truly began 2 weeks before the famous party. Amara had been helping her mother clean the private rehearsal room. The piano inside was worth more than their lifetime savings combined. She wasn't supposed to touch anything. But as she dusted the keys, one note slipped out beneath her fingers. Accidental, soft, harmless. But one note became two. Two became a melody. And the melody slipped into a song her mother used to hum. The one Amara always believed came from an opera, but could never identify. Her voice filled the empty room. Her eyes closed. For a moment she forgot she was poor. She forgot she was invisible. She forgot that no one cared who she was. She sang because the room allowed her to. Then a voice behind her nearly shattered her. "Where did you learn to sing like that?" She spun around so fast she almost knocked over a golden vase. In the doorway stood Adrian, holding a file in one hand and a stunned expression in the other. Amara froze. Her throat closed. She mumbled an apology, stumbling over words, explaining she didn't mean to touch anything, or sing anything, or breathe. Adrian raised one hand. "Oh no, don't apologize. You sound like someone who's been trained for years." She shook her head. "I'm not trained. I'm just a maid's daughter," he finished softly. Her stomach dropped. He wasn't mocking her. If anything, he sounded ashamed of his own world with its obvious boundaries. Amara left before he could say anything else, but the sound of her voice stayed with him for days. Which brings us to the night of the grand masquerade party, a night where guests sparkled more than the chandeliers in the world expected perfection from every performer. Adrian hated these parties. He hated pretending to enjoy shallow conversation. So, like always, he used humor to escape. "Get back inside." For the first time in his life, Adrian didn't obey. He walked toward Amara until he stood inches away, his voice trembling. "You once said you didn't belong here. Maybe you don't. Maybe you belong somewhere bigger. And I'm going with you." Her eyes widened. "What, you can't?" "Yes, I can." His father barked. "If you leave with them, you leave this family." Adrian didn't even turn around. "Then I leave." Shock rippled through every servant watching. Amara's mother covered her mouth. Amara stared at him like he was giving up the world. But he smiled gently. "Oh, what is a world worth if it cages you?" They left the estate together. Amara, her mother, and the billionaire's son who chose freedom over fortune. The next months were brutal. Money was tight. Jobs were unpredictable. But Adrian was right by their side, working at cafes, tutoring music students, doing anything he could. And Amara practiced. Every day, every night, until finally the audition day arrived. She walked on stage wearing a borrowed dress. Her knees trembled. Her mother held her hands backstage. Adrian sat in the audience, his face glowing with pride. When she opened her mouth to sing, the hall didn't just listen, it believed. Her voice carried every struggle, every sacrifice, every moment she had been told she wasn't enough. The judges stared in awe. Some even cried. When the results were announced, Amara didn't just win the scholarship. She earned a standing ovation. Her dream finally had a door, and she had walked right through it. Backstage, Adrian rushed to her. "You did it," he whispered breathlessly. "I know," she said, tears streaming. "We did it." He wiped her cheeks gently. "Amara, about that joke I made months ago," she laughed through her tears. "The marriage one?" He nodded shyly. It wasn't a joke anymore. She didn't answer with words. She stepped forward and hugged him, the kind of hug that made two broken paths merge into one. And everyone watching knew this wasn't a fairy tale. It was something better. A story of a girl whose voice wasn't meant to impress a billionaire. It was meant to inspire the world. A story proving that talent can grow in the shadows, courage can rise from fear, and love can bloom between worlds that were never supposed to meet. A story that whispered an unforgettable message.